Welcome everyone to the School Improvement Institute video on Goals Update. This video is for um, uh, Update 1 and Update 2 schools. My name is Sue Reynolds and I'm president of the American Student Achievement Institute. So we wanted to begin with just a few tips for the steering team, and then we'll go into the presentation for your council for this month. One of the things that we wanted to make you aware of was the Indiana College and Career Readiness Survey that's published by our organization as part of our Redesigning School Counseling Initiative. We know a lot of our SI2 schools are taking part in the Lilly Counseling Initiative, and that you're using this semester in the planning phase to redesign your school counseling program. And we wanted to let you know that on January 11th, this survey will be open to and available for all schools across the state. So if you are participating in that Lilly initiative for school counseling, regardless if you're an RSC school with us or if you're using some other technical assistance provider, you are invited to use this survey. We surveyed 40,000 students last year. The most we've ever surveyed is 80,000 in a year, but we can go statewide very easily. So, and we're set up to do statewide. So please take a look at the survey. I think you'll find it very helpful. Just wanted to show you some things that are in here if you decide to give our College and Career Readiness Survey. There's a whole section on student engagement. So those are the kinds of questions that you would find on that section. Do you usually ask teachers for help when you're confused? Do you always turn in your homework? There's another section on student plans. This would give you an idea of the percentage of students in your elementary school, middle school, or high school that are planning to continue their education after high school and what kind of diploma they're thinking about getting. All of the questions are grade level specific, so we wouldn't be asking a first grader about what high school diploma they're planning to receive, but these just are types of questions. The big part of our Redesigning School Counseling Survey is on student choices, and again, I think for school improvement this would be helpful information as well. So we're basically asking students if they did the things that typically successful students tend to do. So do they participate in class? Do they turn in their homework? Did they visit a college campus? Did they attend a program about financial aid? So yeah, so all of the things that traditionally and typically students tend to choose to do when they're successful at school, this survey would cover. We also look at guidance needs. This covers the knowledge that students have in terms of their career development, academic development, and their social emotional development. So there's those questions. And then there's counseling needs. I think this would be really of interest, again, to school improvement as well as to school counseling. So we're asking the students, you know, what social personal issues are making it difficult for them to be successful at school. And I think this would be really interesting information to have in terms of school improvement as well. Perceptions of the school counselors. Basically, we're asking about the students' perceptions of the counselors' knowledge and skills and dispositions. So, so there's that question. And then basically, I just want to run through real quickly how you might use this information for school improvement as well as to redesign your school counseling program. So one question, do you know where to find extra help in your courses if you need it? And this is actually real schools data. And we're seeing here that, that about 3/4 of the kids say that they do know where to find extra help. But we have, 310 students that don't know where to find extra help. So that's a good, a good percentage of the students in this building. So what I wanted to show you is that in the RSC survey, we're able to do two things. One, we can drill down that data. So if we want to know who are the kids that don't know where to find extra help, we can search by grade level. In this case, there's not much of a difference. We can search by lunch program, free and reduced lunch. And we're not seeing a huge difference, an 8-point difference, but not a huge difference. But this is data that I think would be really of interest to school improvement. We ask kids to tell us what kind of grades they typically get on their report card, and then we disaggregate all of the data that way, and it becomes very clear why students who are not achieving are not achieving. You know, in this case, we have a very low percentage of students who get D's and F's on the report card who say that they know where to find extra help. So you can see that in that last column of the D's and F's kids, there are 25 students who either don't know where to find extra help or aren't sure where to find it. And the thing is that our survey, and this is very different than SI2, our survey will allow schools to communicate directly with those kids. So you can have our system provide you with the email addresses for the students who said that they didn't know where to find extra help, and then you can send those kids directly an email to explain how you provide extra help in your building. Or you can send their parents a letter to explain, you know, how you provide extra help. So you can get mailing labels out of the system as well as an email list with commas between the emails for the students. So in this case, you could send the 25 students an email if you just wanted to focus on your kids to get D's and F's. Or if I were doing it, I'd send all 310 an email to explain how we provide extra help. So there's lots of different ways that you can use this system for school improvement as well as to redesign your school counseling program. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Again, the survey opens on January 11th, and we'll be sending out information to your counselor about that probably tomorrow, maybe Monday, to make sure that everybody's aware that the survey's available. Okay. So now let's talk about prepping for your next council meeting, which is to update your goals. So there's one task to do before the meeting, and that is to send the achievement data report to your council members. So we suggest that you open the report, save it as a PDF, and then send it as an email attachment to your members. And then we're asking them prior to your meeting to indicate and be prepared to talk about data that please them, data that disturb them, and then data that would indicate that there's achievement gaps. So we're kind of, you know, doing that please, disturb, and gaps task again. So then the next step is to make sure that you've printed copies of your goals report that you'll distribute during your meeting. So we have a pre-meeting activity to do, and then your meeting we'll look at your current goals and make some revisions to them. So okay, in the student body discussion, what we're suggesting is that in small groups or as a writing prompt, you're distributing a list of your current goals. So I would just use your SMART goals. And I'd also be real sensitive about goals for specific student groups. Like if you have an achievement goal for Hispanic students, you know, you might not want to be pointing your finger at the achievement improvement needs of Hispanic kids with the student body. So just be kind of sensitive to that. So you're having this list of 5 or 6 of your current goals, 3 or 4 of your current goals, and then you're going to add any possible new goals that the steering team has identified that you want the kids to be weighing in on. So after you've looked at your updated achievement reports, you're adding possible new goals, and again, you don't have to add any new goals if nothing jumps out at you, but if so and you want the kids to weigh in a little bit, then you'd add those. And then we're simply asking the students to reach consensus in their small groups, or if they're doing a writing prompt, to write about the 3 goals that they believe to be most important, and then to state why they believe those goals to be important. So the kids would go over your list of 6 or 7 possible goals for next year, and then they would come up with the goals that they think are most important for you to work on. So okay, so that's the student body prompt. And then just looking ahead as a reminder, and we'll get to this in the council presentation as well, but as a reminder, we're starting now to create the school improvement plan for 2017-18. And the first step is to update the goals based on the new data that you have, that you've collected in past months. And then in February, we'll look at your root causes and determine if we need to make any changes in those. And then in March, we'll update your interventions so that they still address the root causes that you have. And then in April and May, we'll prepare for implementing the interventions. So that's the coming year in a nutshell. Okay, so that's the prep, pretty short and sweet. Basically, we're just looking at we're looking at achievement data. What pleases, disturbs us, what do we see, where do we see gaps? And then we're going to look at the goals that you currently have and decide what we need to do with them, and then possibly add new goals based on the stories that are in your new data. So, okay, let me pause here real quickly, and I guess if anybody wants to make a comment or ask a question, they could either raise their hand and we'll unmute you, or type in a question. And Tina, I'll check in with you and see, do we have any questions? Tina Weissman is on our call too. Tina?
Hello and Happy New Year, everybody.
Hi, Tina.
No questions yet. There was one possible audio issue, but I'm not getting any information back from that right now, so I'm hoping that maybe corrected itself.
Okay.
So I think we're okay.
Good. And can you hear me okay, Tina?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. Give us a snow report from Otwell. What do you guys got?
Well, we were kind of unique because usually if we think about snow, we cancel in this area. We were the only school district not to cancel. And yeah, all of Du Bois, Gibson, Knox, Vanderburg, everybody canceled but us, but they did release at 1 o'clock. So
interesting.
So now it's kind of like where Steve's at. It's just coming down. It's kind of pretty, and it's not. I don't think it's doing a whole lot of harm right now.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's get started. And remember, we'll divide this webinar into 2 sections so that in this next section, I'm going to be talking directly to your council, and then I'll be suggesting at certain points that you pause the video and have discussions. And then when we're finished with the council discussion, we'll have the final part of our webinar, which is to see what last questions you have. Okay, so here goes. So I'm just going to start afresh because I'm now talking to your council. And Tina, you want to make sure to record the time so that we know where to split this recording into 2 parts. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's the end of the council presentation. And for the steering team, if you need help with any of this, please contact Tina and she would be happy to help you. So, okay. Okay, I actually think that we'll cut the council presentation right before the Tina slide. And then let's see what questions you have, and then that will be it for today's webinar. So short and sweet. So Tina, what questions are we finding?
We don't have any questions, but if I can
Absolutely
interject just a little bit here. I know that some of you have been doing this for so many years and you've been doing it really well, but just please keep in mind that when you look at, I know, it's important to look at the achievement data for sure, but don't overlook the root cause data that you're doing and updating and all of that this year. There again, I know, you've been doing it for several years, but always keep in mind that there are so many hidden clues in all of that information that you're putting on there that really will stand to give you a great deal of value when you start looking at root causes, because there are still some questions that I'm seeing as it comes in that, there might still not be that good parent element that's going on in your school. so important, and there are things that can be done, and now's the time to do those things. Another thing that's very, very important is I can't believe how good the community council summaries and student summaries for meeting 2 have been this year. There is some fantastic information in there, so be sure and go back and make notes of that, because those kids are giving you some very, very valuable information, as well as your council members. So that's all going to lend itself into really strengthening and finding out about those root causes, and then making those interventions just incredibly strong.
Good, good, good. I'm going to go back to one slide here. So I just want to make sure, I know Tina's talking about root causes, and I suspect that the reason that Tina's talking about root causes is because we've been collecting the data for root causes. But I just want to make clear that that's not a step that we're going to do until after the goals.
Right. Right. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Just, yeah. That's why I love when we're both doing this, because you can clarify things that I've said, and I just want to make sure that we're clear on things that you've said as well. So we're collecting the root cause data, but remember, the root causes are dependent upon your goals. So we're going to say, here's our goal to do this. What is getting in the way of that goal? So we really need to do the goal step first before we do the root causes step. So don't jump ahead. But what Tina's saying is really a good point. We really need you to engage in doing all the root cause studies. So the surveys, if you're doing surveys, and the updating the short answer questions, the turnaround principles, the focus and priority school questions, the Title I questions. So we do need you to put some effort in that, because as Tina's saying, if not, in February when you look at that data, you won't be able to, this data helps your thinking to be so rich. And without that, you'll do shallow thinking, so or less rich thinking. So okay, anything else, Tina? Anything else any questions that have been typed in?
No, there aren't any questions, and I think that's everything.
Okay, very good. So, and I'm so pleased. Tina's been, we do monthly or weekly staff meetings, and every week Tina gives us a report on the SI2 schools and how y'all are doing, and we've just been thrilled with the amount of engagement, and as Tina's reading your summaries of your meetings, we're just seeing really, really good things. So yeah, so very good. Okay, anything else, Tina? Last call.
I think that's it. Just remember, 5-second rule. Call me anytime.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, everybody, and I hope everybody has a chance to get outside and enjoy some snow. Talk to you later. See you.